The deadline for submissions of concept proposals for the Kuala Lumpur-Singapore high-speed rail has been extended from November 15, 2023 to January 15, 2024. MyHSR Corp, which has the mandate to develop the HSR, said the extension of the deadline for the KL-Singapore HSR request for information was due to the requests from international and local industry players in recent weeks. In a statement, MyHSR said that more than 60% of the companies said they required more time to form consortiums with potential partners and explore financial options. MyHSR had on July 27 conducted the RFI briefing for the KL-Singapore high-speed rail project, which drew more than 700 local and foreign participants representing the full spectrum of the project. To date, MyHSR has received more than 30 copies of the RFI documents purchased by local and international firms, according to MyHSR CEO Datuk Muhammad Nur Ismail Muhammad Kamal. He added that the RFI is also part of the government's initiative to reactivate the KL-SG HSR project via new funding mechanisms and implementation models in efforts to improve the rail transport infrastructure further and invigorate the national economy. Last week, Transport Minister Anthony Locke said the Malaysian government was still searching for a suitable financing method for the HSR project before bringing it to the Singapore government for further discussions. Previously, Research House CGS-CIMB in a September note said 5 companies were believed to have been shortlisted for the project, including YTL Corp, MMC Corp, MRCB, WCT Holdings and Berjaya Land. Glove maker Hartalega Holdings returned to the black with a net profit of 27.7 million for the second quarter of FY 2024 after registering 3 consecutive quarters of losses. On a year-on-year basis, net profit for the quarter dipped by over 2% from the 28.3 million posted a year ago as global headwinds persisted into the second half of the year. Revenue for the quarter plunged by 29% year-on-year to 452 million due to lower sales volume and average selling prices. No dividends were declared for the quarter. For the first half, Hartalega posted a net loss of 24.77 million versus a net profit of 116.62 million a year ago due to exceptional items. Revenue for the same period fell 37% to 892.1 million from 1.43 billion a year ago. Notably, the group said it would have recorded a pre-tax profit of 38 million for the first half if the one-off provision for severance pay of 47 million for Bestari Jaya facility decommissioning recognised in the first quarter was excluded. CEO Kwan Mun Leong said prevailing headwinds in the glove sector are expected to persist into the second half as the industry remains impacted by the ongoing global oversupply and intense competition, putting pressure on ASPs. However, he says the recent capacity rationalisation across key domestic manufacturers, as well as the exit of some smaller players of the sector, have alleviated a certain degree of oversupply pressure on the market. Kwan explains that its current ongoing operational rationalisation exercise, which includes consolidating its operations at its next-generation integrated glove manufacturing complex in Sepang, is expected to generate improved operational and cost efficiencies once completed by the first quarter of 2024, positioning Hartalega for future market recovery. Bursa Malaysia has rejected the Employees Provident Fund's request for a waiver from categorising the pension fund as persons connected with Permodalan Nasional in the 3.57 billion merger deal between Sime Darby and UMW Holdings. According to Sime Darby's filing, EPF is required to abstain from voting in respect of their direct and or indirect shareholdings in Sime Darby on the resolution pertaining to the proposals to be tabled at the Extraordinary General Meeting. In other corporate exercises circular to shareholders, EPF is deemed to be a person connected to PNB because of a commercial arrangement between the two parties in a JV company. EPF holds a 15.23% stake in Sime Darby and 10.05% shareholdings in UMW. PNB has a 5.11% stake in Sime Darby and is deemed to have 37.73% shareholdings via Amanah Saham Bumi Putra. The acquisition is expected to be completed by the fourth quarter and the MGO by the first quarter of 2024. The merger sees Sime Darby buying PNB's entire 61.18% stake in UMW at RM5 per share or 3.57 billion, followed by a MGO to buy the remaining 38.82% stake at about 2.27 billion to pave the way for the delisting of UMW. TPG-backed Columbia Asia has emerged as a frontrunner to buy Ramsay Sime Darby Healthcare for around $1.5 billion, said two sources with direct knowledge of the matter, Reuters reports. According to the Reuters report, this acquisition will be the largest Southeast Asian healthcare acquisition since 2019, when Hong Leong Group and alternative asset firm TPG bought Columbia Asia's assets for about $1.2 billion. It is competing with a consortium comprising Hong Kong-based PE firm Affinity Equity Partners and Indonesia-based hospital operator Mitra Keluarga in the final round of the bidding process for the Ramsay Sime Darby Healthcare JV. A deal could be concluded as early as within this week, the sources said, cautioning that last-minute changes are possible. Started in 1996, Columbia Asia currently has 22 medical facilities in Malaysia, Vietnam and Indonesia and focuses on building mid-sized hospitals in residential areas, according to its website. YNH Properties' three-member audit committee intends to appoint a professional firm for an independent review of the real estate developers JV and turnkey construction agreements. This is in addition to a special review by two law firms, Samir Sumati Fernando & Co. and Benjamin Dawson, commissioned by the group's management, according to YNH's responses to Bursa, Malaysia. YNH said that the management had appointed the law firms whose finding report found that the qualified amount of the inventories in respect of the JV and turnkey contracts entered by the group with respective JV parties or landowners is substantial at $1.1 billion. The audit committee opined that it would be appropriate for the audit committee to appoint a professional firm for the independent review and report directly to them. According to YNH, the audit committee is in the midst of finalizing the appointment of the professional firm and also their scope of works, and that an announcement on the development will be announced in due course. Both BD and SSF & Co. were appointed in April this year to provide legal opinion on whether the JV and turnkey construction agreements entered into between YNH's wholly owned unit KL-SG and various landowners or counterparties are in compliance with laws and regulations in relation to related party transactions. YNH said SSF & Co.'s report commented that an analysis was carried out on 17 agreements entered into by KL-SG and they do not appear on the face of it to be scams as alleged in various reports found on Facebook or the internet. Nonetheless, the report made it clear that this is subject to further verification or validation.